The snare microphones, like we're talking about a couple of 57s, I don't think it has to go, it probably does. I'm thinking about how we're gonna run this in. You gotta set a microphone in a place where it's gonna get the best sound you can off the snare and the drummer isn't gonna hit it. Years ago when I was first recording, I had known that a Neumann 87 was a great microphone, and I had never recorded drums before, and of course, my first session was in a studio where a friend of mine, built the plumbing in there. And instead of getting paid for being the plumber, he got free studio time. And of course, just like I said earlier about the assistant, I didn't get an assistant because we didn't have any money, but he had studio time because he paid for it. So when I got there, I saw all these Neumann 87s. So I knew they were a good mic. So I put them on every drum. And halfway through the tracking session, the owner of the studio came in and saw the Neumanns and went ballistic. He goes, if he knocks the top off of one of them Neumanns, you're buying it for me. And of course, I was completely horrified. Luckily, I had a really good and really experienced studio drummer, and he didn't knock the top off of these $3,000 microphones, and I got away with it. So here I'm getting up close. I want to get close to the snare drum with the 57, primarily because there's so many other things around it. I want to be sure that I get as much snare as I can off of this mic. I want the drummer to move that because I don't want to mic that small little deadening pad he has there. I'd rather have that deadening pad in a different place. Now let's take a look.
There are studio drummers around town that have giant cases full of nothing but snare drums. How many snare drums do you think is a good number to bring to a session?
Oh boy, as many as the drummer can bring.
A whole bunch then.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a drummer and you've got 4 or 5 snare drums that you like, when you're going through the session, you're bringing all the rest of the drums. Mm-hmm. You're bringing toms and floor toms and cymbals, and you got stands, and it's like playing in a Rector set. It'd make sense to bring all your snare drums.
Uh-huh.
You don't bring your snare drums that don't have heads on them and stuff. The whole idea is if you really want to be something, you gotta. If this snare drum is a snare drum that, geez, I loved it, and then I broke the head, you go out and you buy a new head for it. And you bring all your snares.
How important is it to have a new head on the snare?
It is amazingly important. I mean, it's just a difference in sound and the type of head that you use. First, I'm going to go with what the drummer likes, and because that's going to be his style of playing. And then we will try, if we have to use pinstripes, sometimes we'll use the head. If a head is ringing too much, I want those ones that have sort of like knurling on the top of them, whatever they call them.
The scratchy stuff?
Yeah, right. I see. I don't know the name of all the heads, but I want pinstripes, or maybe we'll get single ply or double ply, and it depends. I mean, I saw a head that looked like it was a yellowish kind of woven head that I liked one time. I have recorded a snare drum with a gut head on it. It was basically disgusting, but it was the way drums used to be.
A real calfskin?
Yeah, calves. Was it calfskin or was it like?
I thought it was calf.
Pig's innards. I don't know. Yeah.
How much change do you end up with from the raw mic sound to the sound you get when you mix?
Again, it's a function of what ends up in the song and where it has to sit in the picture. And so there is not a set rule. Like I said, I will come up with a drum sound that I think is right for the song, and then I will start building the song around it, and then what needs to be done will become more apparent to the drums, depending upon where they have to sit in the mix, if it's driven entirely by the drums or if the drums are just part of the drive of it. And this will depend, will dictate the amount of EQ that it's on. That's why I say I will record flat.
Yeah.
Because in that sense, I'll be able to go anywhere. Whereas if I've pre-EQ'd, I've committed myself to something, and I won't be able to take that back. So I tend to do this with all the instruments. I will record them flat.